And I want to get to that 2003 season because, in my opinion, that's a season that every Memphis football fan will always remember, getting to a bowl game for the first time in decades. So you threw for over 3,000 yards and 22 touchdowns that season. D'Angelo rushed for over 1,400 yards and 13 total touchdowns. Why did everything click for you guys that season?
Honestly, I think that the year before, I really thought we had a better team as far as, and when I mean team, I thought we had better players. Obviously, that isn't what makes a good team. A good team is made up of a unit of guys that believe in each other. They all buy into the same thing, and they want to accomplish the same goals. My sophomore year, we had guys on that team that I thought were very good players, and they even announced us as possibly being BCS busters because they knew everybody that was coming back for my sophomore season. We just didn't put it together. We didn't have the senior leadership on the team. We just didn't get it done, obviously. And I think, when I was a junior, the things just came together. I think people bought in. They understood during the summer workouts and during spring football that the things that we were trying to accomplish and where we were trying to go. And I think the leaders of the team just kind of took the reins, and everybody else had to either get out of the way or follow suit. And I think it worked out. It was a long time coming for this program, for the fans, the coaches, and the players. Like I said, from growing up the last couple of years to not doing much, I think they got tired of it. It was time to make some changes and make a difference, and we did that. Everybody was just one big collective unit, heading in the right direction.
For sure. And the second game of that season was against Ole Miss in the Liberty Bowl, nationally televised game on ESPN2. Like 52,000 fans were there. What do you remember about that game?
Well, I mean, I remember a lot about that game. I remember I was going up against my buddy Eli from down here in New Orleans, and I never really got to play him in high school, even though I played his high school the year after he left. But I had gone to the Manning Passing Academy for a few years. We had developed a bond and a friendship, and then all of a sudden his senior year comes up, and everybody's, of course, talking about him playing in the NFL and being another Manning, and they run into a speed bump, little old Memphis. They come to town, and Ole Miss comes to town, and I don't really think they took it seriously. It's a huge game for us as far as Memphis goes, and I think Ole Miss was looking at bigger things. They were looking beyond us, and we went in there, and they made some mistakes late in the game, and we went and took it to them, and we ended up winning the game. It was a huge momentum swing for us, and I think sometimes in a program it takes something like that to happen. And I think when that did happen, the guys on our sideline really truly started to believe that we could do something special. We could be something special. And like I said, the leaders just had to take the reins and lead from there. But it was a great ball game. It was a great atmosphere, great feeling. I had said when I stepped on the field as a freshman, or when I got recruited there, that people needed to stop forgetting, or they needed to forget about beating Tennessee. I think it was in 1996 or something like that against Dayton. So we go out there and we beat his brother Eli, and I think it kind of gave the program a breath of fresh air, saying that maybe we are headed in the right direction. It wasn't just a single game, but it could be a complete season on maybe we're going to do well in this conference, and the national hype is going to catch up as well.
Yeah, I think you guys were up 14-0 in that game early, and then you guys were down 34-21 headed into the fourth quarter. So how did you guys pull that off? Was Tommy West just firing you guys up, or what happened?
Well, I think it was it's hard to stop the big train, and I think that, like I said, when all of the players believed, there wasn't one thing that was going to stop us. We were going to continue to work hard to keep that momentum moving, and I think when you could step into a locker room at halftime down, like you mentioned, and look into the eyes of those guys around you, and they can look into your eyes and believe that you're heading in the right direction, and understand that you're there for them and they're there for you, and there's no better feeling in the world. And I think people can learn a lot, especially these days, from a football locker room. Understanding that we're all here for the same thing, we're all trying to do our best, and we're all one big team. And that's really the feeling that I got when you step in the locker room at halftime, is that you got to believe that we're all here and we've put in the work to be here. We're not just – there's not talk. We got to put in the work. So there's 2 more quarters of football. And I think, honestly, at halftime, Ole Miss probably relaxed a little bit. They thought that, it was just another ball game for them. We came out and just brought out that whooping stick and kept on pounding, and it just, it ended up being in our favor at the end of the night.
Yeah, and that was the first time Memphis had beaten Ole Miss since 1994 at that point. And those 44 points you guys scored in that game were the most points ever scored in the history of the series, at least at the time. I think it still holds true today because the game this past year was like 10-3 or something ridiculous.
Right.
But yeah, you and Eli both threw for, I think, 4 touchdowns in that game, and you guys got the win 44-34. And another memorable game that season was the one on the road against Louisville. You guys just destroyed them 37-7, another rivalry game. That was actually the game that assured you guys of the first bowl game in over 30 years. So what do you remember about that one?
Well, I can remember that the weather wasn't ideal. It was a little cold and chilly. I think it might have even been a little rainy. But like I said before, I think that was when the guys had the belief on, like you said, this is when we need to clinch our first bowl bid in 31 years. We can get it done tonight. And sometimes in a game, when you walk up and that first whistle blows and you punch somebody in the mouth, that's a hard thing to get up from sometimes. And, you have to be a man and you have to look at the guys around you and say, hey, are you with me or not? And the thing is, we just kept slugging away and kept putting them down because they were definitely favored in the game. They had a great squad that year. And it was one of those games where it was total domination and it was a heck of a lot of fun. We just kept going out there and pounding them and beating them down. And it was one of those things where, if you had to line up 10 more times, I couldn't promise you it would go that way because it probably wouldn't. They were a heck of a ball club. And of course, even the next year, they had a really good team and they beat us at Memphis, but on ESPN. But it was just one of those games where you kind of put it all together. You don't turn the ball over. You get turnovers on defense. You score touchdowns on defense. We threw the ball. We ran the ball. We mixed it up. And honestly, we just took it to them at their house.
For sure. And that Cardinals team was 5th in total offense in the country. And then you guys shut them out defensively, and where D'Angelo was running all over them, you were passing all over them. So you end that regular season with 8 wins, head to the 2003 New Orleans Bowl. You're playing in your hometown. So how fun was that for you to be in a bowl game, an historic bowl game for Memphis, and for it to be in your hometown? That's got to be special, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm a hometown guy. Family's real big to me. My high school friends are still my best friends today. So it was huge for me to be coming back home in a place where I felt like, it sounds cliche, but I was home in the Dome because I had already played there 4 years in a row in high school. From a 14 to 18-year-old kid in high school to walk into the Superdome and look up at the lights, a lot of kids can be in awe. And it even happens when you're in college. You walk into a stadium like that and it gets a little overwhelming. For me, I didn't feel that way. I just felt like it was the place I wanted to be. I loved playing there. It was a great opportunity. So it was business as usual for me. But the fans really showed up. It was so fantastic to see all of the fans that traveled down to New Orleans, enjoyed the festivities. It was a long time coming, like I said before, for this program to be there, enjoy it. The hard work for that season to pay off for the players. And it was just a culmination of everything leading up to that, saying that we have to get this done as well. So it was a great feeling. And then going out there and D'Angelo was down. My second string running back was down. And matter of fact, we had a guy that just earned a scholarship that came in and played in that game. And we ended up winning it. And I got the MVP of the game. And like I said, it was like just another ball game. The only thing that changed is your perception on, maybe how big you make it or how small you make it. And for me, it was just another game, going out there, taking care of business. But I'd be lying to you if I said that it wasn't fun and it wasn't a great opportunity for the Memphis fans to go out there and enjoy something that they haven't been a part of in probably most of their lifetime.